Ladies and gentlemen, a very special presentation of Talking Movies with Ron and Mean Gene as we zoom away. Oh my gosh. I want to start by saying Ron from Studio C is here to talk new movies at Celebration Cinema, just like the old days, but we're not. We're not doing that. But
I'm officially a private citizen on this
yes,
call today. I am no longer employed. I am furloughed from the great organization I've worked for 44 years. But I'll be back, as the Arnold Schwarzenegger would say.
Well, it's great to see your faces, guys. I can't tell you how happy I am that we are able to do this, at least to some degree, to share in the I don't know, just thoughts and things going on through our brains. Gene, hello to you. How are you right now?
Doing well, Eric. Again, friendly faces are nice because it's been the same ones for the last 5 weeks here at the homestead. So yeah, it's good to see somebody else.
Now, the audience needs to know that we had to have a special high-level meeting about whether to pull back the curtain like the Wizard of Oz to show everybody the face of the one and only Mean Gene. Yeah. And I think, Ron, do you agree that we're all better because of it?
Of course. I swear we need a 3-camera setup when we get back to Gene's regular station to get a camera on him.
I think you guys have been in isolation way too long, but okay, I'll go with that. Whatever you say, man. It's your show.
You know, it's interesting. As this all started to unfold, I started seeing people using the term Zoom, and I did not know what that was. Did you either?
Nope.
Either?
Yeah. I've been using it for teleconferencing with a supplier of ours that's actually located in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And so we have Zoom conversations every other week. It works around the world. It's cool.
Funny story, gentlemen. I've been able to implement it into the show. So each end of each week, we do like a trivia challenge with audience members. And so, it was pretty much run of the mill, as you've seen a million times. And I'm asking the audience members different trivia questions. A winner gets a prize. Well, this is the first week we did it. Somebody said, hey, now that our game is done, why don't you go ahead, Eric, and see how many people we can get in here, listeners of the show. And I go, well, that's a great idea.
Oh, no.
So I took that link and I posted it on my Twitter and my Facebook. And within 10 seconds, we saw things that I should never see, guys. It was so bad. Oh, my gosh. We were traumatized. It was horrible, man. It was all sorts of things that I don't want to get into because I want to try to keep this as PG as possible. But I talk about on my regular show. I mean, we were like, oh my God, we're trying to click out of it. And it was all pandemonium. So we were Zoom bombed and it just took seconds. It was like they were laying in wait in order for us to, and then it's how quickly they had it ready to go. All this disastrous material. I was really impressed with the speed at which they ruined the entire event.
Well, now you've got my interest peaked. We got to find out. We'll find out after the show what the hell he was talking
about. Oh, dude, so bad. Terrible. My gosh. Okay. Well, so it seems like so long ago. There was actually a moment weeks ago when we were at the WTKG studios.
KTV,
I'm sorry. I'm getting the AM radio. I've done that before.
That's how long it's been, man.
WKTV studios. We were in there. And we were like, hey, go to the movies. It's going to be okay. Do you remember when we were saying that, Ron?
Yeah, I do. It was okay for a while.
Yeah. And we definitely weren't of the mindset that we are now. And we have so much has happened and transpired that has made us all very, very wise about our health. And since this all started. So it seems like years ago,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also interesting now to start thinking about what it looks like when we get back to business. I mean, even before we were forced to shut down along with everything else, we thought, well, we can stay open, we can leave some empty seats, we can, practice social distancing even though we can still operate. And now, even getting back into theaters opening again, it's like, can we? Is that going to be okay? How are we going to do that? And of course, that's the same conversation restaurants and a lot of other businesses are having right now.
It's absolutely incredible. And to think, I oftentimes I think back to when it's suspected that the first person got sick. And of course, it's half a world away in a pretty big town, which has about the same population as Michigan. Wuhan has about 9 million people in it. And to think that this all started from one and a relatively short period of time is remarkably scary to me, you know?
Yeah, and how our world has changed, right? And will it change forever after we've learned so much about contagions and what the new vernacular is around social distancing and washing your hands and all the other things, the distance issue, sneezing and coughing, and maybe the world will be a much better place when we get.
It's going to be cleaner, that's for sure. I think I think the ultimate focus initially is making sure that the hospital system isn't overrun, so that the very difficult decision about who lives and who does not live is avoided. Okay, and then from there, they're working on this vaccine. And I think honestly, I don't know if we're like really comfortable packing arenas and things like that until that has happened. And that's going to happen. I mean, you think back to Spanish flu epidemic, pandemic in 1918. You think back to polio and the serious nature of that. And then eventually, whatever happened to end those problems did take place. And it's going to happen. It's not like a light. You can't go on and off. It's going to take some significant time to get back to that point.
I just read something that Dr. Fauci, our favorite celebrity virus guy, said, you know what, come football season, and maybe even with baseball season, we can get those started again, but with no audience, with no spectators, with no and just watch on TV, and that could happen this summer, and certainly the fall when you start talking about football, is playing live sports without fans in the seats. That's kind of interesting.
That would be weird, like on a pay-per-view basis. But I know a lot of athletes they don't want to do that because
that is because they could run a risk. I mean, if they're in these close proximities, they could be exposed to this. So
wait a minute, isn't that part of the basic plan to move forward? Is that all those participants are tested so that they know that nobody that is participating has got them. Okay.
But then you have to consider, if they go about their lives, who knows in their downtime what they might encounter,
Right, but that's where the whole testing thing has always been a big part of what's going on, obviously, is if you can test everybody and get that accurate 15-minute test down, nobody goes into the locker room that hasn't been tested.
Yeah, I want it down so that they just, you spit on a litmus strip or whatever, and they determine. Right. I mean, this should be that quick. That's the only way I would feel comfortable if I was a player.
Yeah, so that whole thing that baseball's talking about too is just this summer playing in, I don't know if they're neutral sites, but neutral states, if you will, in Arizona and Florida. I mean, it'll be interesting. I miss movies, but I miss live sports more, as much or more, and a lot of people are in that same boat.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they're running like highlights of Tiger games from last year, and it's the same two games that they keep playing over.
Oh yeah, right.
You know what?
I think, boy, you know what's crazy is you guys all remember this, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to love talking about it. Is 1984. There's so many storylines on that team that you could probably recite them all. I mean, the 35-5 start. And then, what they did and the dramatic home runs that took place in the World Series with Kirk Gibson and Lance Parrish. Not to mention, you've got George Kell and Al Kaline doing the play-by-play. Who wouldn't love to hear the sultry Southern sounds of George Kell and Al Kaline?
The problem is they're not showing that. They're showing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they need to do. That's what I want them to do. And I would love that. I would really love that, because that was in my formative years watching that 80-14 play, and that was special, man.
Well, Fox Sports is doing a good job of doing the Wings. Their Stanley Cup runs from '97 and '98 against Philly. They're playing those, but the Tigers, they're not even.
Well, the last 2 nights I've been watching Pistons versus Lakers, back to the Bad Boys days and the Chauncey and Rip days. I know. I've been watching that like it's never happened before.
And then all those great Lions games.
Yeah. Oops.
You mean the Great Lion game?
Game singular.
Okay. Now let me ask you guys this. A lot of people in this current environment, they have kind of taken to doing a particular thing or things in their homes. What has taken your time? Has it been viewing things? Has it been working around the house? Watching the grandchild? I mean, what is taking up the lion's share of your time now, Gene?
Yeah, like you nailed it right there. My granddaughter came to visit us 5 weeks ago, and that was just before they closed everything and said, you can't travel, you can't do this. And it's like, okay, we'll hang on to her for a little bit. And that little bit has now turned into 5 weeks, because she's from Fort Wayne, and it's not as, we're up in the middle of nowhere here. So it's a lot safer environment, a more safer environment for her. So yeah. Kind of become parents of a young kid again.
So mom and dad, they're gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to see her again.
Well, how have you been passing the time though, Gene? How do you entertain one such human being?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's lots of stuff online for her to watch, and Netflix. But I'm actually the homeschool teacher here, so I'm actually because Carla's working. She works 10 hours a day still, because the mortgage business is still banging. So it's fallen upon me to do everything else. So, they say what's going to happen at the end of this, we're either all going to be great cooks or alcoholics. And that's all we're going to be. That's all we've been doing. And I think I'm going to be a little both.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been occupying my time for the most part. It's been great.
All right. What are we teaching on a regular basis? What do you guys do?
Just math, reading, doing some science stuff, experiments, that kind of stuff. Just doing things that entertain a 7-year-old.
Well done. Yeah, she was inquisitive. She got right in front of the camera to say hello to Ron and I. I immediately started to interview her. I wanted to know about Grandpa. And you said, all right, get out of here. That's right, enough of you.
No, we don't need any of that. That's
okay. Ron, take me through the Van Timmeren household. What's been going on there? Has been Chris been chasing you around saying, hey, Ron, give me a smooch?
Oh, yeah. She is raring to go all the time. I gotta be careful. I know she's listening upstairs, and she wants to come down here and give you a whole ration of what about your political stances, but I told her to forget about that.
No, that's okay. I know. I've been fighting with everybody. I'll tell you about that in a second. But anyway, Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Well, we live on a lake in the woods in an older home, so we've been doing an awful lot of chores when the weather permits. And I got to tell you, my favorite hobby up here is fishing. Okay, I can still go out in my rowboat, even though the governor has said no motorboats, no jet skis.
No motorboating. I love motorboating.
Yeah, well, okay, not that kind. You can still. Anyway, so. This morning I was in the Rogue River doing a little steelhead fishing. Weather permitting, I will go out in my rowboat. Although as we record this, the previous couple of days it's been blowing 30 miles an hour out there, so you don't go out on your rowboat. But the perch are biting. I've had some fresh catch dinners here, so a lot of chores, a bunch of fishing, reading books, watching some TV. It's just Chris and I, so we're relatively comfortable. Thank you.
Yep, and that's and I'm glad to hear that. Absolutely, as long as you guys are safe, that's the important thing. As you alluded to, outside of podcasting, I've been fighting on Facebook. I've been doing a lot of fighting, and also working around the yard. I've been cutting things down with a chainsaw, doing some chores, things like that. So yeah. trying to be manly. I posted one Facebook video because I have a chainsaw, but I've never actually brought down a tree, an upright tree. I've just sawed logs on the floor of the forest, So, but I had to bring this one down. So I brought it down, and it was painful to watch because I was so novice at it. And so, but I was really impressed with myself because I was successful and it worked. So now
how big a tree are we talking?
It was about 40 feet tall, a 40-foot pine tree. And so I was happy, and I posted it just for my audience. So I expected 1,000 or 2,000 people to look at it, as all my videos are, just no big deal. Well, apparently it got spread around. Did you know that there is a very vibrant lumberjack community around the world?
Who are not shy about telling you how to do it right.
Oh, yeah. I've had for the last 2 weeks, inbox after inbox message saying, you should die. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, it's been viewed 350,000 times.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. And all these hillbillies are reaching out to me saying, you know what you're doing, you dumb Yankee. And I'm like, what? So now I didn't engage those ones, but yeah, Ron's referenced it earlier. I had been making some posts that have been just drawing so much attention, and everybody's mad at me, and some people are happy with me, but I've just been fighting like crazy, man. It's been great.
It's been great. I know. I don't know whether to believe you or not in some of the things you say, just to get that reaction.
No, I believe it. I mean, I'm not smart enough to just fake it. I mean, I do believe that stuff. But at first I was fighting fire with fire and telling people, saying nasty things to people. But now I'm like, whatever. Just take it as it comes. It'll be okay.
So I guess I don't know if you've been critical of our governor's.
No. I love it. So I love everything she's done. And I was described today as America's most rational Trump voter. Seriously.
But that still puts you in that category of a loser.
So and I that's what I keep getting. I get people who don't, who just let me have it. It's like, the way I look at it is I vote or I vote for, and I don't ever try to point fingers and say mean things to what anybody else votes for, because I look at it as I don't ever try to convince people to vote. I don't ever say you should do this, you should do that. I just happen to believe what I believe, and then take it as that. Now, if someone says something, whatever, no big deal. I don't care about that part of it. What I do care about, though, is public health. And I'm very, very concerned about this virus. And when I hear all of these morons trying to convince others that this is not a big deal, that really actually does upset me. And that's where I draw the line. So and I just don't like that they've politicized it, and they're saying that she's actually doing it on purpose just to destroy the economy. What a crazy, stupid thing to say,
Right, and a very short-term outlook on things. I mean, my goodness, we're only talking April 30, and I get it. It's not going to go back to normal on May 1st, even if we do get an all clear, or some services, the landscapers get to go back to work or whatever on May 1st, or whether she extends it. I don't think anybody really should be thinking that we're going to go back to normal anytime soon.
Yep. And what's funny is a lot of these people that are driving around the Capitol right now, they've made this argument. They say, you can't buy paint. I need paint. And it's like, you can buy paint. I don't know if you know this, but it's only buildings that are 50,000 square feet and up. And what happened there was, like your local hardware store, mom and pops, you can buy anything you want there. But what happened was the big box stores were taking this time to market to people who are at home to, hey, buy your paint, and get more people into the store. The move she did was punishment for greed. That's the story behind it. So people have been saying, oh yeah, she says we can't buy paint, but you can. So it's all, I guess, a matter of where you hear it from. But the story that everybody's complaining about, you can't do this, you can't do that, is nonsense.
Yeah, and I actually stood in line outside of the Lowe's the other day. So they are keep limiting people. And then I went to a Meijer and they were counting heads, keeping track of how many people were
Yeah.
in the store.
Good
And
job. I'm happy
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
I'm very
all that
happy about
stuff.
it. My brother was diagnosed with COVID-19. He has it. I don't know
Oh,
if you. Yeah. Oh
I don't
boy.
know anybody. You're the closest
Yeah, you're the
person I
first
know
Yeah.
that knows
person.
somebody.
Yeah, he is. He has it, and I think he's starting to come out of it. But it was bad. I mean, we're
Ew.
talking. So,
Hospitalized?
uh, actually, no. So I guess it couldn't have been that bad, but it was
Well,
bad while he was at home.
yeah.
And I think had it gone another day of downward spiral, yeah, I think he'd have been taken a ambulance ride to the hospital. So
Yeah, and I heard stories of two people on a ventilator. They were getting that short of ventilators for the critically ill, and that is
oh
still
yeah,
a very serious situation.
it just boggles my mind that the idea that even though we see this vast amount of death, that people are still that myopic and self-centered to think, oh, this isn't that bad. It's not going to affect me. It's like not about you. It's a very tricky virus that can lay quiet in you while you're getting people sick who may be very vulnerable. And that just burns me, man.
True.
Hmm.
It's that whole, oh, I don't care about the other guy thing that really upsets me.
Yeah, so hopefully even those people are being somewhat cautious when they're going out. I sure see a lot of people, most people at the Meijer stores wearing masks, and I certainly have mine on and gloves on, disposable gloves, and really just reading some of the literature about uh, how much you can protect yourself and
Yeah.
others if you do that.
Yep.
That is going to be the cure, so to speak,
Yep.
of current crisis.
Take a little time to the average person so that they read a little as instead of pitching a fit and acting like a jackass. Read.
Read.
God,
Be
you know,
smart out there, people.
I just prior to sitting down here, I had to run into Big Rapids. I went into Walmart to pick up our groceries for the week because we do that once a week. Pulled into their delivery when they pop the trunk, they put it in, I leave, don't even get out of the car. But it's amazing how full the parking lot was and how many people were just going in and out of the store with no protection, just like it was normal. And
Oh, God.
look at that in, the Walmart, the Meijer was that way, Lowe's, Menards, Aldi's, it was like nothing's going on. It's like business as usual. It was weird.
Mm.
Yeah, I hate to see that.
Well, Gene, I just to counter that, and I had the opposite at the Knapp Street Meijer yesterday, and at the Lowe's on Plainfield earlier or end of last week. I have seen more people practicing their distancing and wearing masks and gloves. So
I think I know what it is. Big Rapids is more hillbilly, and hillbillies are stubborn. That's what this is.
That's it.
No
virus going to get me.
You can argue that, the further north you get or the further away from Detroit you get, the fewer cases. And those people are probably thinking that, hey, we don't have many cases, so why bother?
It's middle of nowhere. Man, and thank God, because if there was a big blooming of this in Manistee or Otsego or something like that, I mean, those hospitals, they can't support that.
Well,
so
that's why the governor said there's not going to be different rules for all y'all out there in the UP than there is down here in the Detroit area.
Did you just say all y'all?
All y'all. That's the plural of you all, in case you didn't know.
I like it.
Y'all.
Y'all. His small town boys coming out. All y'all.
Well, listen, I was a basketball coach in the inner city for many, many years, and I learned that y'all is singular and all y'all is plural for, the people that you're with.
No, I like it. Yeah. I like it.
Have you guys,
what stands out in your mind as something that you've viewed on either an on-demand film or a film you've just haven't seen in a long time, something that surprised you, or Netflix? What comes to mind?
Let me begin, because I've had this conversation with both of my kids and several others. I have tried I have tried to get into Tiger King or Lion King. Tiger, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't get into that. I mean, I know it's bizarre and it's hugely popular right now, but I'm trying, but it's just not there. It's not grabbing me. It's weird, but
Ron, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was waiting for you to say, Eric, that you have seen it.
I have.
I have
you
not.
watched them all.
I haven't even. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh yeah, yes, I did see it, except for the most recent one.
I tried, man.
I haven't even tried to get into it. So, Eric, go ahead. Give us a review of what you've
without
seen.
spoiling anything. I will say that I think that the fervor for the show is, as far as shows like that everybody watches and it's on Netflix or similar, and you watch it in a binge format and everybody talks about it. I would say it's way overrated.
Right.
Absolutely. It was crazy, but not crazy enough. It wasn't like Making a Murderer type crazy. It's still good, and I enjoyed it, and it is worth your time. But I can also understand why Gene didn't get into it, because it's I don't know. It's just
it's tabloid, right? It's
it's garbage. It's complete trash, but we like that.
Yeah. As my wife put it, it's like the train wreck. You can't look away. You have to keep watching, and you watch and watch, right?
Absolutely.
Well, the funny thing about it is, the couple of times I always watch at night when granddaughter's in bed and the wife's gone, because it's really bizarre. And I'm always watching it and falling asleep. So I started watching episode 1, and then I'd wake up, it's episode 3, and then I'd wake up, and because Netflix just keeps going. So I was totally lost to start with.
Okay.
And it didn't. So yeah, I tried. I gave it my best. That's all I can say.
All right. Fair enough. Film wise, I've watched a lot. Off the top of my head, I saw Peanut Butter Falcon. Very good. Excellent movie. Love that movie. I went back to watch Shutter Island. Remember Shutter Island?
That was terrible. What?
Oh, I saw it. It was, I liked it, but it was a lot of times I felt lost.
The DiCaprio is the Scorsese film? Oh, okay. I've got you mixed up a little. That was pretty creepy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very creepy, and but it had enough intrigue in it that I was like, oh my God, I can't. And it was kind of like a mind F, if you will.
Yeah,
big time in that one. So that was good. Moneyball, yeah, I like Moneyball. I especially like Jonah Hill in Moneyball. I thought he was my favorite. Yeah, it was a great movie.
Terrific movie, yes.
What else? I again saw Green Book. Again watched Joker. Still great movies. Loved them both again.
Yeah, I watched Parasite again last night. That's more interesting the second time around when you're not actually focusing on the subtitles all the time. So that's worth a second view.
Okay. Yeah, I got to go back and get that. I'm gonna have to do that one on my own, because my family won't let me. It has to be a group setting that we watch it, and they won't let me watch it. So, but I did convince them. What I did was, in order to see 1917, because I knew it was going to be great, and I knew they'd love it, and I said it early in the day, because we usually sit down 7, 8 o'clock on the weekend, and we just scroll through trying to figure out something to watch. So at like 1 p.m., I said, "Hey, I called 1917. We're going to watch that movie." And man, that's been my favorite since the viewing started.
Nice.
Film. I really
would
enjoyed
love to see that again. And the other one, what about Ozarks? Anybody into that? Anybody gone there?
That's next on my list, Ron.
Okay, now listen.
I haven't seen it.
It's got some. It goes sideways a lot. Okay, and somebody said, season 3 they jumped the shark, and you know what? I've never really quite understood what "jump the shark" means. So, can you explain that one, Eric?
Yes.
Jump the shark mean?
What that is a reference to the television show Happy Days, and there was an episode where Fonzie on water skis had to jump a shark. Okay. Now, a lot of people say that was the descent of the show. The second that episode started and played, everybody was like, the show was shitty after that point going forward. So, thus, jump the shark.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense now. Ozarks jump the shark on every other episode as far as I'm concerned. So, but do check it out. It's a terrific cast. I love Jason Bateman, Laura Linney, and the rest, and it's really somewhat intriguing. But it jumps the shark about every other time I watch it here. And the other one I'm recommending that apparently just got released is The Gentleman. If you like mysteries, if you like Guy Ritchie movies, if you like that Knives Out movie, this is the R-rated version of that. I loved Gentleman, and I'm highly recommending you check that one out too.
I like that. That would be. I mean, since Guy Ritchie made it, I mean, he's absolutely spectacular. There's no question. Everybody loves his movies. But I tried to get the family to watch Knives Out, and it has to be like everybody has to agree. And I'm like, I know you're gonna love this movie. Everybody loves this movie. Well, I don't want to watch. I go, why? Well, I'm telling you, it's a whodunit. It's terrific cast. Ron loves it, for God's sake. Trust me, we got to see this movie.
All right, we're running out of time, Gene says. So,
all right.
Final thoughts there?
We will have to do this again.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. It was one of my favorite things I've done all week. Very, very special.
Same here, man. Even without the question, and now it's at the end, you can't do it because it's kind of.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I'll save it for next time.
Okay.
All right, I love you guys, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Stay safe.
All right, see you guys.
Ron, take us out, Ron.
See you at home.